reenactment of the Legal Practitioners Act, Cap L11 Laws of the Federation 2004, originally enacted in 1962. President Tinubu, in a letter read by President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, explained that the bill seeks to promote and protect public interest and the rule of law, strengthen professional ethics and conduct, and improve transparency in regulation of legal services. The bill introduces reform designed to uphold professional standards, improve disciplinary mechanisms, and ensure accountability among legal practitioners, which include a mandatory 2-year post-professional legal internship and compulsory continuing professional development for all legal practitioners. The Senate has adjourned plenary following the passing of one of its members, Senator Okechukwu Ezea, who represented Enugu North Senatorial District. Topsy Gimba has details.
The city began with routine proceedings, including the approval of the votes and proceedings from the previous session. New committee appointments were also announced, with Senator Austin Akubondo named Vice Chairman of the Senate Committee on the FCT, and Senator Isita Ungu assigned to the Committee on Air Force. But the most shifted was Senate Leader Okwemi Bamidele announced the sad news of Senator Ezea's demise. He described it as a painful loss to the Red Chamber and moved a motion to adjourn the plenary as a mark of respect.
Announce the passing of distinguished Senator Okechukwu Ezea, representing Enugu North Senatorial District of Enugu State and member of the Labour Party, who died on Tuesday, 18th November 2025. Mr. President, consistent with our tradition as well as our parliamentary customs and conventions, I will be moving that we suspend all further legislative activities for the day.
Following the motion, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, led the chamber in observing a minute silence. He also ordered arrangements for a condolence visit to the late senator's family.
2 motions have been moved by the leader of the Senate. One is the demise of our colleague, distinguished Senator Ezea. The second is that, in line with parliamentary practices worldwide, that we suspend all deliberations for today to go and pay condolence on the family. Those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. However,
the Senate has adjourned until the next legislative day and will hold a valedictory session in tribute to Senator Ezea. Topsy Gimba, reporting for Global Television News.
Nigeria may be inching closer to its most ambitious constitutional overhaul in 25 years as the National Assembly deepens work on amending the 1999 Constitution. Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives and Chairman of the Constitution Review Committee says the country is on the verge of a historic breakthrough with decisions that could reshape governance, federalism, and the distribution of power and resources. National Assembly correspondent Aniete Patrick has details.
At the second joint retreat of the Senate and House Constitution Review Committees in Abuja, the Deputy Speaker emphasized that the political future of more than 200 million Nigerians hangs on the outcome of the ongoing process. He noted that under Section 9 of the Constitution, every amendment will require the approval of 2/3 of all 36 state houses of assembly, making the next phase crucial.
As we all know, Section 9 of the 1999 Constitution as amended requires that all alteration to the Constitution must be approved by at least 2/3 of the House of Assembly of the Federation. This means that no matter how brilliant, how necessary, or how popular our amendments may be, they will not become law without the support of at least 24 out of 36 states' houses of assembly.
Deputy Senate President Senator Jibril Barau reinforced the National Assembly's commitment to a thorough and meaningful review. He explained that the retreat is focused on adopting earlier resolutions, analyzing subcommittees' reports, and advancing work on key proposals, including issues around state and local government creation.
Will be less deliberative, except where there is a substantive motion to reconsider any issue already concluded in the last meeting. Because the purpose of this meeting is to approve the positions reached previously and to receive reports from the subcommittees constituted to take further legislative actions on some of the bills.
Representing the chairman of the Conference of Speakers, Gombe State Speaker Abubakar Mohammed assured the state assemblies remain fully committed to supporting the process.
The deliberate engagement we have witnessed so far, ranging from the release of the schematic areas to where are we today, has prepared the ground for a more coordinated and constructive consideration of the document when they are presented to the state houses of assembly.
The retreat brought together federal and state lawmakers along with other key stakeholders, marking the final major engagements before the National Assembly moved to vote on the amendment bills. From the National Assembly, Anieti Patrick, reporting for Global TV News.
The House of Representatives dedicated its entire plenary session to Nigeria's worsening security crisis. Speaker Tajuddin Abbas lawmakers took turns raising motions, insisting that fight against insecurity must go beyond routine rhetorics. They call for stronger political will at levels of government to confront insurgents, bandits, and criminal networks head-on. National Assembly correspondent Aniete Patrick has details.
A somber mood inside Nigeria's Green Chamber as Speaker Tajuddin Abbas leads lawmakers into a special session devoted solely to the country's rising insecurity. The Speaker urges Nigerians not to bow to the fear terrorists and bandits are trying to spread. Speaker Abbas warns that beyond bullets and bombs, fake news and misinformation now threaten national stability, escalating panic and eroding trust in authorities. He appeals to citizens and lawmakers to rely on verified sources only.
These incidents remind us of the scale of the threat we face and the seriousness of the work before us.
The House leader Julius Inyubere, reviewing security trends across the 6 geopolitical zones, highlighted alarming figures of thousands killed, over 24,000 violent incidents in the last year, and millions displaced. The warned that insecurity, if not contained, threatens the nation's economic survival.
There is now a recognition that just a direct military engagement may not solve this problem. There is an urgent need for what is now popularly called the non-kinetic, because at the end of the day, some communities and individuals are involved.
The House identified key national priorities: clear political will at all levels, modernization of defense systems, stronger intelligence and community policing, technology-driven operations, and urgent fencing and protection of schools under the Safe Schools project.
When I hear people praise government is doing well. Are we sincere? Government is still sleeping.
The Deputy Speaker, Benjamin Kalu, in his remarks said Nigeria has strong deterrent laws but weak implementation. He said what Nigeria needs now is structured legislative reform, not just military responses.
That Nigeria possesses strong deterrent laws. We don't have paucity of laws, we have strong laws. But what we suffer is weak institutional implementation.
The plenary was attended by foreign diplomats, civil society groups, and visiting parliamentarians. Honored victims of recent attacks with a minute of silence, Speaker Abbas commended President Bola Tinubu for what he called swift and coordinated response to the recent wave of kidnappings and killings. From the National Assembly, Aniete Patrick, reporting for Global TV News.
Nigeria continues to grapple with violent attacks on schools, communities, and security formations. The House says it is ready to provide legislative backing to any initiative that will save lives and restore safety. Speaker Tajuddin Abbas led the lawmakers in an intense debate following rising cases of school abductions, killings of security operatives, and violent attacks in several states. National Assembly correspondent Aniete Patrick was there for Global Television.
The Green Chamber resumed with a clear and urgent agenda on confronting the escalating wave of insecurity that has left many Nigerians anxious and vulnerable. Members also demanded urgent perimeter fencing and enhanced surveillance in schools to protect students from rising kidnappers' attacks. They emphasized the need for a well-defined victim support system to help communities recover from trauma. Defense Committee Chair Babajimin Benson warned that Nigeria's military capacity has suffered years of decay, worsened by the exit of foreign forces from the Sahel and the inflow of heavy weapons from Libya. They insisted that intelligence and early warning systems must be upgraded immediately.
So we are suffering from the decay of trying to replace that equipment till date. It's been a very difficult and onerous task. We have not had friends, indeed, who will support us build the arsenal we had in the days of yore.
For Representative Alhassan Adodogwa, in his opinion, calls for a closed parliament until the government can provide established security for its citizens across the country. For the Southern Caucus, represented by Victor Nwokolo, calls for more collaborative efforts in tackling the issue away from religious sentiments.
Security situation in Nigeria today, Mr. Speaker, it is horrific. Mr. Speaker, our security situation is tragic. Mr. Speaker, the security situation, especially in the north where I come from, is devastating. Mr. Speaker, our situation in Nigeria today in the area of security is unspeakable.
Maybe we may have to come up with a law where stipend must be recommended for the vigilante groups to strengthen them. Because there are some communities, they can't even get fuel, they can't even afford fuel. So these vigilante groups, they need to be funded from the local government.
The House, however, resolved to push for the institutionalization of national early warning mechanisms to detect threats before they escalate. Committees were also directed to engage security agencies for a comprehensive review of strategies currently in use. From the National Assembly, Aniete Patrick reporting for Global TV News.
The Southeast Caucus of the House of Representatives is appealing to President Bola Tinubu to grant a political and humanitarian pardon to the detained IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu. The lawmaker says the move is necessary to calm tensions and restore stability in the region. Again, here is National Assembly correspondent Aniete Patrick's report.
The Southeast Caucus met in Abuja to review the recent conviction of Nnamdi Kanu and assess what it means for peace and security in the region. While reaffirming their respect for the court, the lawmakers say the matter has now grown beyond a purely legal issue. After deliberations, the lawmakers resolved to formally appeal to President Bola Tinubu to use his constitutional powers under Section 175 and grant Kanu a presidential pardon.
After extensive deliberation, the caucus resolved to humbly appeal to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, to consider a political and humanitarian intervention using the constitutional powers granted under Section 175 of the 1999 Constitution to grant pardon to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu.
The legislators say Kanu's continued detention has fueled agitation, disrupted commercial life, and increased fear across the region. The one that the emotional and economic burden on families and communities is deepening.
Our appeal is grounded on the following considerations. 1. We believe that the continued detention of Mazi Kanu has contributed significantly to tension and agitation in the Southeast. Despite numerous calls for calm, the atmosphere remains strained. A presidential act of mercy at this time has the potential to de-escalate tensions, restore normalcy, and reduce the cycle of security operations and civil resistance.
The caucus added that Nigeria has a history of using presidential clemency to heal divisions and believes this moment requires similar leadership. They insist that releasing Kanu could create room for broader engagement between the federal government and Southeast leaders. The lawmakers also appealed to residents of the Southeast to remain calm and law-abiding while efforts continue towards a peaceful resolution. From the National Assembly, Anie Patrick, reporting for Global TV News.
The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetekun, has visited Kebbi State Governor Dr. Nasir Idris following the abduction of students at the Government Girls Comprehensive Secondary School in Maga. The visit underscored renewed security efforts as rescue operations intensify. Kikelomo Okere has details. We'll bring you that report in our subsequent bulletin. Right now, we want to go on a quick break. After this break, the AM News returns. Stay with us. Welcome back from that break. Now let's take you to the world of business, where the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association in Kano State is calling on the federal government to review the petroleum subsidy removal policy, as continuous price fluctuations are forcing many marketers out of business. Global TV correspondent Idris Jibrin reports that nearly 40% of petroleum marketers in the state have already shut down operations.
At the start of his administration, President Bola Tinubu announced the removal of petroleum subsidy, a decision that immediately triggered a sharp hike in fuel prices nationwide. The ripple effect has been a persistent rise in the cost of living, driven largely by increased transportation expenses. While government maintains that the subsidy removal is intended to strengthen the nation's economy, Nigerians continue to buy fuel at highly unstable and often exorbitant prices that changes almost daily.
Many people now, they park their cars. They cannot even afford to always buy fuel and then to transport themselves. Even me, I always used to do it maybe 2 or 3 times a week.
According to independent petroleum marketers in Kano, this unpredictable price fluctuation has become their biggest challenge. Many have lost their capital to the unstable market, leaving several stations unable to continue operations.
The
problem of price fluctuation is mainly from the depot where we used to buy the fuel. For example, if you buy 100 naira fuel, you will be expected to include your transportation cost on the pump price. But before you even reach Kano from Lagos, you may hear that the fuel has dropped with 20 naira. They warn that unless the federal government review the subsidy removal policy, particularly by introducing a regulated minimum or maximum price, Nigerians will continue to struggle with high fuel cost, while many more marketers risk being pushed out of business. We actually need government intervention by giving us notice of increase or decrease price. Because before the start of this problem, we have people with 10 to 20 trucks, but today they have been reduced to only 1 truck. Fuel is not scarce in Kano at the moment, but there is no uniform pump price, as filling stations continue to sell at different rates across the states. From Kano, Idris Jibrin, Global Television News.
Where President Donald Trump's African convoy, Massad Bulus, says Neither of Sudan's warring sides have accepted a new ceasefire proposal, urging Bonn to agree to the plan presented by Washington on behalf of mediators without preconditions. Abolo's senior advisor to U.S. President Donald Trump on Africa stated that the army had introduced conditions to the humanitarian truce proposal, while the Rapid Support Forces still need to agree to it in its exact format. Uyi Agbomofwegbe completes the story.
The United States envoy was in Abu Dhabi to discuss regional conflicts and the situation in Sudan, having been engaged in working with the Quad Group, comprising the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt, to bring about an end to the war. The envoy also said the Sudanese army had introduced conditions to the proposal, to which it had already agreed, urging them to drop all preconditions.
We have appealed and we have asked repeatedly the two parties to accept this humanitarian truce as presented without any preconditions.
The envoy also advanced a bigger issue, the humanitarian challenge occasioned by the ongoing crisis. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian, driven by the ongoing conflict between the Sudanese armed forces and the Rapid Support Forces.
And the people of Sudan can't wait any longer for humanitarian assistance to reach people everywhere in Sudan. The levels of malnutrition and suffering seen in those who are fleeing al-Fashir is unprecedented.
The Rapid Support Forces said it has declared a unilateral 3-month ceasefire a day after its rival rejected an international ceasefire proposal. Uyi Agbomofwegbe reporting for Global TV News.
Bobi Wine, the man challenger to President Yoweri Museveni's 40-year rule in Uganda, has drawn vast crowd as he brought his campaign to the capital, Kampala, ahead of his January election. Wine, whose real name is Robert Kyagulanyi, is 43-year-old singer turned politician who has become hugely popular among Ugandan young people. He, however, faces a deeply enriched political machine led by the 81-year-old Museveni Zarau Nasir, has the rest of the story.
Tens of thousands swarmed around Wine's motorcade as it moved around Kampala suburbs for the first time since he confirmed his second run for the presidency. Wine said he began the day at the Lozira maximum security prison just outside the city, where several officials and supporters of his National Unity platform have been held. Hundreds of heavily armed police and military personnel manned the road, which passed through the streets, despite an earlier police order to keep rallies to designated zones to avoid blocked roads. Wine has been arrested numerous times and has alleged torture in police and military custody, lost to Museveni in 2021 elections that were marred by widespread reports of irregularities and severe violence from security forces. Zarau Nasir reporting.
Feeder teams. Chief Operating Officer of the League, Danlami Alalano, stated this, adding that federal teams can provide a platform for younger players to develop and hone their skills, with the potential to be promoted to the main team. The league said the aim is to improve club stability, player development, and overall league structure. And that's it on the AM News. But before we go, a quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. Remember that you can always follow us on all our social media platforms as it's been shown right now on the screen. I am Ramsey Enoch Abu. Many thanks for joining us.